It'll be the non sequitur.
This is going to be 35 minutes
Yeah.
of Pete trying to connect to audio and
And he's gone.
us sitting around waiting to realize that his cell connection in rural Tennessee is not going to be enough.
It's not the most reliable.
that is.
Welcome to Several People Are Typing. We have a full boat here today. I'm your host, James, with David, Brian, Will, Adam, Andrew, and Pete. So we've got we got everyone here, and we're gonna talk about some fun stuff today.
Do people call it James?
Yeah, I do. I switch it between the two. I don't know. I can't.
It's his professional name.
Yeah, see, I'm
Oh,
feeling
Is that your
professional at the moment.
podcast name?
That's your podcast. So do we have to call you James?
No, you can go to the gym thing. I don't expect you to.
No, it's fine. I'm not gonna
I
call you
flip
whatever the
between
fuck you want.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, James is just a yeah. Jim is fine. Jim is fine. So, So I wanted to kick off the topics. We kind of got into this a little ahead of time around these kind of service delivery programs like Uber Eats and DoorDash. And I had a fun story where I recently ordered off of bestbuy.com, and they had a same day delivery option. There was no additional charge, and it was to go to my parents. It was a present for my nephews. So I was going to ship it to my parents, and they were going to bring it to my nephews for Christmas. So I order same day delivery, and then I get a call from someone, and they say, "Hey, I'm your shopper." I'm like, "Okay." They're like, "I'm at Best Buy. They don't have your order." And I'm like, "I don't." And they're like, "Yeah, they don't have your order. They don't know what they don't know what you want me to do." And I'm like, "I don't know what you want me to do." And then it went to this whole thing where they're like, "Yeah, so Best Buy doesn't have your order." I'm like, "Well, you have my order." They're like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "And Best Buy generated a ticket for you to pick up this product." They're like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Yeah, but Best Buy doesn't have it." So it was literally like the whole outsourcing, same day delivery to this third party, and Best Buy has no idea what's going on because all the people on site, they were supposed to literally drive to a store and then drive it to our house or my parents' house. But the two completely didn't know what was going on, and they were looking at me like, "Hey, you need to fix this." And I'm like, I didn't create this problem. You outsourced it to someone.
I paid a service charge to not have to deal with this part of this.
Right. You outsourced it, and you're looking at me like I'm the problem here. And I wonder, to Brian, I know you had a story earlier if you want to just retell it, but it feels like this might start to become a more and more common thing. So do you want to go into yours quick?
Very briefly, we got a gift card from Uber Eats, and I spent over an hour and a half trying to process it properly because different restaurants, different places accept different. There's a DoorDash, a Caviar, which then falls into something else, and just the bureaucracy of it gets silly and confusing to process.
Okay. I guess I was going to go into the whole, oh no, maybe that was Adam then. Who was the one that had sorry, it was an Adam story. I don't know why I went to you.
That was me. Yeah, I tried ordering pizza from a local place through Chow Now, and I specifically put in the note that I wanted contactless delivery, that I was going to leave the tip outside. Had no problem doing this from other local places. But unfortunately, my order was outsourced to DoorDash, and the guy contacted me to say, "No, I have directions to put this in your hands." And I said, "No, I asked for it to be contactless." He said, "No, you have to choose that in the app." And I was thinking, well, I did, but it didn't pass this information to DoorDash, and I was specifically not even trying to use DoorDash. I was trying to avoid DoorDash. So the whole thing was kind of unfortunate. The guy ended up doing what I needed anyway. He's just like, "I just need to make sure I see you before I walk away." And that was the concession that he made for me.
So I think it's kind of interesting, the idea that these apps can end up outsourcing to other service delivery apps. and then there's going to likely be a consolidation play. So I'm wondering, do you think in 2021, I mean, there's a lot of them right now, at least 10 to 12.
I feel like they already are consolidating, right? Like that's part of.
I the first one I heard of was the one you talked about, was Caviar buying. Yeah. So do you guys do you think there'll be like a great consolidation? Do you think we're going to end up with 2 or 3, or do you think we're going to end up with this sprawl of 15 for the next year or 2?
Yeah, well, didn't Uber try to buy Grubhub, or is at least in talks to buy Grubhub Seamless?
Oh, really?
Yeah, I believe so. Which would be a pretty big consolidation at that point.
Why? I wonder why. I feel like they've done a pretty good job at expanding their.
Is Uber Eats any good?
I use it, but I mean it's all geographic. Like I don't know. By us, all the other ones. I mean Uber Eats seems to be the best by us. I've tried them all.
In Ann Arbor, you mean?
Yeah.
Context for the viewers.
Yeah, but I mean, I imagine that it's the same thing anywhere you live, right? Like you guys have the services that they offer there. But yeah, here, I had a bad experience. I had a few bad experiences with DoorDash. I used to use DoorDash all the time here, which was pretty good. They probably had the biggest restaurant footprint, but they kept fucking up my order, and their response was subpar. So after like 3 of those, I'm like, you know what? I'm done using DoorDash. There's plenty of others to use.
I mean, I've gone through, I think, all of them. Well, not all of them, but Caviar, Grubhub, Uber Eats. I don't know. I have like 10 other ones on there. I don't know. I don't really. To your point, it comes around to selection on what you end up really going with, right? If you're in a city, you can really have your pick of anything, but you get out to the burbs here, and there seems to be pretty slim pickings on some of them where they might only have like one option, and then you end up just finding the one that can do it. So, but I have read that a lot of them pretty much can, and I think we were talking about this in the past. I think, Will, you brought it up. A lot of them kind of screw over the business owner pretty well, right?
Yeah, I mean, Grubhub, from what I understand, so Grubhub Seamless take 33% of the bill as their fee from the restaurant, which is pretty insane.
I actually just started reading a Medium article about this, and yeah, that kind of lines up with some of the things I was reading. I actually, like, part of my problem is that, like, I haven't used any of that kind of stuff until, like, just started messing with it, because of where we live, we're about 5 or 10 minutes from any place that we would order from, so we've just been generally doing pickup, like just pick up at the door.
The difference between your experience and my experience is pretty profound.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Like, you're 5 minutes from anywhere you would want to order from, so like, oh, I'll just go pick it up. Like, I have gotten delivery literally from the building next door.
It's so funny.
Like, yep, I will pay somebody $8 in tip to bring this to me, please.
But I'll just say, from outside looking in on this, like, I'm really looking forward to a consolidation. Like, I perceive a whole bunch of these different, like, every time I click on any website, it feels like there's a completely new, like, now this is our version of ordering online. This is ours. It's like, guys, I'm sick of this crap. Get your shit together. I'm just going to keep ordering and just being frustrated, but get your shit together.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think consolidation is good for the restaurant owners, to Jim's point.
Oh, that's fair. Well, like I said, I order all pickup and pick it up myself, so I can give 100% of my money to the restaurant.
Yeah, so before, like in the city, when Seamless and Grubhub were kind of the 2 big options before DoorDash was around, before Caviar, and well before Uber Eats, there were a few restaurants around here that wouldn't, like, they just didn't deliver via those apps because the cost was too high. And during, that was all well and good. They could make that choice when they, were these really popular restaurants pre-pandemic. But now that they are kind of beholden to delivery and takeout for their survival, these apps have them over a barrel, and they know that. And so
Basically, their service fee goes to the restaurant instead of the consumer.
yeah, well, and the consumer, but it's much smaller percentage.
I
Like
think
like
that's
80, 20 or something.
yeah. Your mileage may vary there. Like here, our bills have probably our food bills have probably gone up close to 30%. Like the food was already expensive here, and ordering takeout. Yeah, like I can't get takeout anymore for the family for less than $50, which is what it used to be, and now it's like now I'm paying like $80 every order.
Well, for God's sake, there's 5 of you.
Yeah, $50 is like, for me and Megan, that's what it costs.
You're both ordering $25 dishes.
Yeah,
It's pretty standard in Brooklyn.
that's not. Yeah, it's pretty. Like,
I mean, you can't get like a $10 sandwich somewhere.
sure, but for like, yeah, usually when we order dinner, we each get like an entree and like we'll split an appetizer or something.
Or like
And then
pizza?
with
How much
like,
do you
and then
spend
like
on-
with tip and everything.
how much do you spend on pizza? No, I'm saying
Um,
that's pre-tip. That's just food.
Yeah, so pizza, I don't know, like $25 for a pie, but we never get a pie because I don't want pizza. Usually, I'll just get like a salad and a hero or something, and then Megan will get like a few slices, and yeah, that's easily $40.
Yeah, I mean, the point I was trying to make is that food costs here have gone up. I mean, clearly there's disparity between the cost of eating food in Manhattan and everywhere else. But
I think it's a good thing that I should rephrase that. I think that I'm okay with restaurants charging more for their Grubhub items or their, whatever the delivery service items in order to make up that difference a little bit. Like I understand the position that they're in, and they're already suffering enough. So if they have to charge me a little bit more, I'm okay with that. But I understand that I might be in a unique situation because I don't have, kids that I have to buy food for. So it's not that bad if there's, a 20%, 30% uplift in the price of food.
well, sure, if all of that money was going to the restaurant, but I have no interest at all in giving money to Silicon Valley companies. Like I would be a-okay if every single one of those companies no longer existed and there was a local delivery service.
Yeah, absolutely. I would much rather.
That seems a little extreme.
Why?
I mean, Uber,
Silicon
Grubhub,
Valley really
Seamless, they're
needs
all
more
pretty shitty.
I have a question. So
These companies are terrible.
ignoring the suffering that these kinds of businesses are doing during the pandemic, if we could put that aside, do you think it's worthwhile for these restaurants to be getting business even at 30% take away from them that they wouldn't otherwise be getting? I mean, 30% is better than zero.
Yeah, so that I think
You know
that
what I said,
largely,
like
yeah, I think
30%.
that largely depends on the restaurant, right? So kind of the point I was making earlier is that pre-pandemic, there were a bunch of restaurants in my neighborhood that didn't deliver on these apps. And when we would ask them why, it was purely because of the margin that the apps were taking. Like that was the only reason, that it was not worth the extra volume to them to make so little, right? Because it stressed every part of their business. And if they weren't going to be able to like really grow with that, and it was, not a huge source of income, it was just like a small incremental bump, then it wasn't worth the additional strain on their restaurant.
I mean, the simple solution is exactly what you just said, though. Just increase the prices a little bit for those services.
Yeah.
And then they make more money and have greater volume, right? It seems odd that they wouldn't have instantly come to that conclusion.
What, like upcharge their products to make sure that they still pocket the respective,
or even
yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't have thought of that. I'm sorry, I'm specifically upcharging when people order from
Yeah,
the
like go to
apps.
Uber Eats versus like a menu in the store, and the Uber Eats version is 30% more. That's all.
I mean, I run into that all the time. Even if you look at various, delivery
That's fun.
services, the prices are different sometimes between the services for the same item from the same restaurant. So that's happening to some extent.
Again, as a kind of outsider or newbie to this area, I feel like 100% of the price bump should be on the delivery app. Like that seems like such bullshit to charge the restaurants.
I mean, I'm like you. I'll usually go and pick up curbside.
Oh,
if
do you
that's an
mean
option.
the idea that they
They
charge the
along
restaurants
that.
at all?
Yes.
Yeah, got it. That they take it because they take it on both sides.
That should be 100% on the person who's paying for the service.
Right.
Like I'm paying to use Uber Eats, therefore it's this much. Like passing that on to somebody else.
No, it's like a realtor getting commission for the buy and the sell of a house. They're taking it on both sides.
It's like every time I ignore the Act Blue donation.
Jim is describing.
Yeah.
You know,
So-
like
so- so do I.
when I donate to the Georgia runoff, and Act Blue is like, but we're hosting this service. You want to give us? I'm like, no.
Oh,
Close.
I'll admit.
but that's transparent at least. That's not like we're just taking.
Yeah, that seems fine.
Yeah.
The other issue, I mean, around transparency is that Grubhub and Seamless, and I don't know, I've never used Uber Eats, but they bury their fees in the tax line. So
Actually, Uber Eats was very pleasant. They had a call out of like the service fee that they specifically were like, this is what we're charging you to use our service. Now, I don't know if in addition how much they're charging the restaurant. I don't know nothing about that yet, but
yeah. So
You guys remember earlier in the year too, they got.
I don't know if it was always like that, right? I'm only saying literally today. Sorry.
They got a lot of heat earlier in the year, and I'm not sure if they ever really fixed it, but they were basically skimming tips. Do you remember that whole thing?
yeah, DoorDash was.
Yeah, and Grubhub was caught doing it as well, and then it blew up on Reddit, and then they said they fixed it, but they didn't. So then it blew up on Reddit a second time, like a month later. Like totally shitty business practices.
Yes.
That's why I'll usually leave a physical tip outside taped to my door rather than sending a tip through the apps because I don't trust any of them. I don't even trust restaurants for that, to be honest. I don't know if that's wrong, but I don't.
Well, all tip-based monetization is garbage, and I hate it. It should all die. I fucking hate all of it.
Well, that's another issue completely.
Yeah, it's great.
I don't know. I never have cash on me. Like I have not had cash in well over a year. But when I did, and I was like, you know what? Like, I don't know if these apps are stealing tips. And this was like a few years ago. And I would just switch back and forth. But like, if I ever had cash on me, I would tip in cash. And one time I forgot to change the setting on the app, and I didn't have cash on me, and I forgot to change the card. That delivery person was fucking furious. And I was like, I'll order another thing from the restaurant and just like don't deliver it. Like just take that money. But like I don't know what to do here, man. Sorry.
What did he say?
He was like beside himself with anger. Yeah.
Yeah, like I
I have never ordered from that restaurant again.
Will in fear of this.
And I have moved since then, and I still haven't ordered from them.
Like that guy, you're on his list. You're definitely on his list. No, I get that. Like, that's like going to a parking garage. I've literally said like I have a gift card for Starbucks. I'm so sorry. Can you just take this? And they're like, they look at me like, what? I'm like, do you have a Venmo account? Do you have a PayPal account? Do you have some way of giving you money right now? Like I don't carry. Can I add it to the credit card? They're like, you can't add it to the credit card. I'm like, oh no. Like I don't know what to do. You know?
That's garbage, and that's on their end. What parking garage doesn't accept a credit card? That's ridiculous.
No. He's talking about the tips.
I don't have cash for the $2 to $3 for the guy bringing the car around.
You're talking about doing what's it called?
You don't park it yourself in New York.
Yeah, New York City, like garage. You can't find there's no garages you park in. I mean, there are, but they're few and far between.
Yeah.
Okay.
Most of them are you drive down this like crazy tiny windy thing, and then they do magic and it goes somewhere in the back, you know?
Right. Yeah.
It goes out to Queens somewhere.
This is all alien to me. Also, This is terrifying to me. I never want to go to New York City.
Oh, I don't like
It literally
valet
just
parking.
hire someone to drive it for the next 5 hours.
We don't actually have anywhere to park it, so we pay people to drive it around.
Yeah,
The
this is a
the
fake
Ferris
And
Bueller-
fake park.
we still make a profit because it's like $50 for 20 minutes. Yeah, New York City parking gets you like that. The first 30 minutes is $45, and then the next like 4 hours is $50.
Yeah, I don't know why anyone would ever want to park in a parking garage or just drive to Manhattan. Why would anyone ever want to drive to Manhattan?
Because it's super convenient depending on the situation.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're going somewhere that you need to drive to, you're gonna do it.
But okay, yeah. I mean, why not take public transit?
Slower.
I mean,
So you
public
do it-
transit usually is good, but sometimes you've got kids, you got a bunch of shit with you. You got
Yeah, it
stuff
also
you
depends
wanna
where you
do.
live.
But time convenience equals money,
Yeah.
right? Like we all know this.
No, like New York parking garages, I don't really have a problem with. I mean, I'm typically not going there on my own dime, so it's just going to get expensive.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you expense it? Because that's the big thing. If you
Yeah.
can expense it, then it's
I don't.
why not?
No, but then it comes down to the tip, and then I look at my wallet, and then I'm like opening my trunk. I'm going
You
through my
had one
golf
job.
bag. I'm
You
like,
had one job, Jimmy.
find something, find cash somewhere, and
Has
I've
that
given
ever come
given
up?
people gift cards. I've given them subway passes. Like, there's 5 days left
Give
on this
them-
monthly. Just take it.
Give them a subscription to this podcast.
Oh god, that's the ultimate FU right there.
Oh,
Gift that
dude,
keeps on
no,
giving.
you could.
Do you want my here's my mix CD.
That's how you get going. They basically get to hear this like hour-long
I
apology.
have something better than money.
We're sorry.
I'll give you a
No,
share
no.
of my YouTube ad revenues.
Yeah, there you go.
So bad.
Yeah, do an ad at the upfront for the parking garage.
I'll give you
Yes.
half of zero.
No, you guys don't understand. I did an ad for you in my podcast, so we're good. I just
I'm a
Do
promoter.
you need a park in the Upper West Side? Have I got a parking garage for you?
Also, remember to bring cash.
yeah. Also, don't mention my name. I don't think they like me very much. Okay, so let's get into some politics.
But yeah, all that terrifies me, Andrew. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, Brian. Well, I don't understand. I mean, you just drive into a garage and then they take a ticket. It's I don't know.
It's not complicated.
Yeah, and even now, there's not even physical tickets. They'll text it to you. It's even easier.
I've just never had a positive experience driving in or through Manhattan before.
Yes. Yes.
Actually,
that.
maybe in like the Upper West Side. That's not too bad. Like you can find street parking there, but everywhere else, it's like, no, I don't want to be here in my car right now. This is not fun.
The worst driving experience I've ever had in New York City was when my in-laws were visiting and they wanted to go to the Cloisters and they didn't want to take the subway. So
Which is
we
like
drove.
incredibly easy.
Yeah,
if-
it's just
if you take the subway
it's the A all the way up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like a 2-minute walk.
Yeah. But so they wanted to drive. And I was like, all right, whatever. Like, you have a gigantic, awesome SUV. It's super comfy. No problem. I was like, do you have Waze? And they're like, well, we have our Garmin, like physical Garmin GPS. And I was like, does that do traffic data? No. I was like, okay, I have Waze. Let's just follow this. No, I like the Garmin. And we sat on Canal Street.
2 hours later.
Oh yeah, it was an hour and
Jesus.
45 minutes to get from my place to the Cloisters because we drove back and forth across the city because that's the way that Garmin said. Like, we're just parked on Canal in the middle of the day. I'm like, what like Waze is only going up. Like, it just keeps going up. It says, please turn here.
Please, for the love of God.
If you don't turn right now, it's going to
You're
be 20
fucked.
minutes. It's going to be 20 minutes longer.
Yeah.
Can't help you.
Yeah. And then by the time we got to the Cloisters, it was closing in half an hour. And we just turned around and went home. And I was like, well, can you at least let me navigate this time? Please.
That's brutal.
Which
How-
one was the
How was the
suburb?
way home?
Not so bad, because you just take the West Side Highway all the way down. It's like, just follow this until you get to the tunnel.
Will, which in-law is the most stubborn, or is it both of them?
I mean, it's my father-in-law.
Yeah.
Yeah. like does not trust technology unless it's his technology. Like, okay, because
My tech's good tech.
Because 35 years ago he had a comp sci degree. Like he has WEP hotspots in his house. I'm like, you know, that thing's been broken for like 10 years now.
Over a decade.
Yeah, like that's not good.
Well,
yeah, that's my New York City driving horror story. But when you can drive yourself, and if you have a zippy little car, and you just know to be aggressive, driving in New York City is not that bad.
yeah.
It's just not enjoyable. I remember one time we were picking up Jim from the cabin when he was working in the financial district, and I forgot who was driving, but it wasn't me.
Was that me?
It was one of you guys. It may have been Brian, but I was the passenger, and we were basically, it was like Friday at like 3:30, and we were going into the financial district to pick up Jim. And
was I with Dave?
That was me.
Oh.
That was when you were working at Moody's.
Yeah, you were working at Moody's, and it was like a parking lot. It was just stupid.
Yeah,
like,
I was so angry.
We were just in traffic, and you just walked to us like into the middle of traffic and just got into the car.
Yep.
Well, I hope you're
It's
happy.
fucking Friday.
I'm gonna pass out now.
Manhattan.
You guys have fun driving.
Just
yeah, pretty much.
Whatever. At least you pass out not behind the wheel. Because
Driving
that helps.
Because that happened on a drive up to the cabin as well.
I played it cool.
Weren't you driving Brian's car? And
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
my
a stick shift, and my foot let
my
off the
bumper went
clutch.
under the truck.
I was in first, and the foot slowly let off the clutch, so the car started to go. And I went under a truck, and we heard, and like I immediately woke up, and the car to the right of me looked at it, and he was looking at it, and he's like, you're okay, don't worry about it, just keep going.
Brian had that damage for like 5 years.
Yeah.
And that was it. That was there for the rest of that car's life.
Here's the reminder.
Fixing that damage would have totaled that car.
Right.
I love that car.
Because that car was great. Because its exterior was scraped, therefore it needs to be fully replaced. Like, no, that's fine.
I think, didn't you lend me your car when I broke my hand in college?
Yes.
Do you remember that?
Oh God, I remember seeing your thumb all fucked up.
No, it was like, were you in the hospital with me with that?
I don't know if I was in the.
When my finger got kicked in from soccer.
Yeah, I was involved in parts of that process. I can't remember the specific. Didn't I take you to the airport? Didn't you take a JetBlue out? I seem to recall that.
JetBlue was ever how you flew out of there, but I remember going to physical therapy in Rochester, and I remember driving a car.
Your thumb hanging down. Your thumb hanging down was pretty brutal.
Yeah. Well, don't play intramural soccer with actual soccer players. That's the lesson there. All right, so kind of hopped around. Let's get into some politics. So, non sequitur if there ever was one. So first thing is,
That's what editing is for, Jim.
No, trust me, there is no editing. My voice is the editor. See, new topic, edited, boom.
Smooth transition.
Thank you.
I love it.
So in recent news, the doctor at Walter Reed Medical was fired for speaking out against Trump for when he went into his little drive around the hospital when he was actively contagious, thus forcing Secret Service in a sealed car with him. A doctor openly criticized that and said there was no need. It's pure political theater. This is only endangering Secret Service lives, which they're now forced to deal with, which obviously is potentially deadly. And he was fired. And he tweeted out something saying, "I have no regrets."
Let's be clear. He wasn't fired. He was a contractor, and his contract wasn't renewed. He has a job at another hospital, where I think that he's a pretty prominent physician there. But
he is the chief of disaster medicine at George Washington University.
That's what he is. And I mean, this was kind of his him picking up more work to work at Walter Reed. But it's not like he was kicked out on his ass and doesn't have any work. He just wasn't, contract wasn't renewed.
I mean, from the story I heard is his hours that he was assigned went to 0, and no one at the hospital would claim to know why. So like he would get hours each week he would work, and it was all steady, and then it just went to 0, and no one had.
I mean, it's clear why it happened, right? I mean, we all know why it happened.
Well, yeah, the fact that he landed on his feet and he like this doesn't fundamentally affect his finances personally, but he was fired effectively from the hospital because of criticizing Trump.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
Just to call it out that he from everything I've read about him, he sounded like an incredibly. I mean, I don't think you get to be a doctor at Walter Reed without being one of the best in the country, and it just seems awfully petty and all that kind of stuff. So, isn't that like one of the best hospitals we have in the country?
I mean, I think that
Walter Reed.
I think there's still something about like it's not his place to be saying that necessarily. And while I don't disagree with his sentiment, I also don't think that there's really a problem with the hospital wanting messaging to go through their corporate offices.
If they did that, though, you'd think they would own up to it.
Own up to what?
I don't think there's really any fallout here. So I don't think from a PR standpoint there's a problem.
All right.
There's nothing illegal about it, right? Like anything you say in social media that affects your business, you can they can fire you for it, right? Like,
I mean, I don't know how it affects a hospital's business, but yeah, okay.
I think everybody agrees that Trump is a petty douche, but this seems like a nothing. I don't know. It's just.
I mean, maybe I'm reading a different story from you guys, but it sounded like, no one wanted him to go. He was an incredibly competent doctor, and for reasons that the hospital or no one would state, he just, got canned.
Well, also, isn't Walter Reed's a military hospital, right? So that I think makes it even worse that like you're speaking out of turn. And again, I don't disagree with his sentiments, but like I feel like that would be the one place where, they would want to definitely control all messaging. And like, unless he's going to be like, I was a whistleblower, for my opinion, I should be protected.
Yeah, there's nothing. There's
no whistleblowing. It's everything that happened was out in the open. So it's not like it's not. I guess my point is it didn't seem like the hospital wanted to do this. This was like an ordered. This all feels very much like an order directly from Trump. And this isn't the hospital being like, we don't like our doctor doing this, so we're going to let him go. This is the hospital not wanting this to happen, and Trump being like, he's got to go.
I mean, even if that's the case, I don't see that as a huge issue, other than like, the guy has dictator vibes, and these are dictator actions. Like, you can't speak out against him, otherwise he retaliates, right? That's who he is. But I don't know. I don't think that anything illegal happened.
No. Well, also, I feel like this is pretty small potatoes.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
All right.
It's not even worth like focusing on.
You're right.
Like,
in a year,
there's actual real problems.
All right. In a year, this will be Biden's biggest scandal that will take up the news for 3 months straight. Okay, but you're right.
Exactly.
But you're right.
Let's get back to
right
that.
now, this is like.
Well, then let's talk about double standards then, because that absolutely exists.
Well, sure. It
turns out if you set your bar low enough, you can get away with all sorts of shit.
Yeah. Well, I think honestly, I was expecting a slightly, more like, wow, that kind of is just another petty thing. But you're right. It does feel like Trump's bar right now is, at least he didn't, actively try and shoot him. So, bonus points, I guess.
It's not sedition. It's not lying to Congress. I don't. really care that
Right. He didn't
much.
call him out on Twitter and tell the Proud Boys to go kill his family. So I guess, Trump's having a good day. You're right. So yeah. All right. So we'll move on.
But
To
the guy was,
it-
the guy was
He
completely
didn't
right.
make Giuliani
But
bite him.
saying
the
everything that guy said was right, but saying shit like that is not okay. Like, there you go.
and like in between pardoning war criminals, he's also like, hey, can you also fire this guy? And it's like, we should probably focus on pardoning war criminals.
Yeah. All right. So let's get to the pardons. All right. Now we can get the big wow. This was supposed to be a lead up into a fine. All right. Trump's pardoning war criminals, people that killed civilian women and children.
This is insanely bad.
Yes.
It's thoroughly immoral.
It is impossible
It's
to
grotesque.
overstate how bad this is.
It's irredeemable bullshit.
Will he pay any political price for it?
No.
One, I mean, he
Not-
lost, so he already paid the political price for being shitty.
No, he didn't lose, Will. Count all the votes. Count all the legal votes.
Do the research.
Yeah, there's no political price here. The only hopeful thing is that there is some sort of criminal price here, because maybe they are stupid enough to have written down the quid pro quos.
Like Trump wrote on a napkin, give me $5 and I'll get you a pardon. Like
maybe there are emails about it. Yeah.
Yeah, but
there was already a bribery, a pardon for, like a pardon bribery thing for the fundraiser. I can't remember his name.
Brad.
Oh,
no.
Sure, but
Well, I mean, that's if he did pardon somebody who paid him, that's a criminal act, and the pardon is invalidated.
oh, sure.
Right. What that was,
And
that was last
there
month,
were
right?
there were emails about this one, right?
Yeah.
So I'm hoping
that
there
was
are
last
emails
month.
about, the new ones, and like at the very least, there's going to be congressional investigations about this.
There already is, right?
For
That was
God's sake, I hope so. Are there? Please.
yeah,
There will be.
I believe that the FBI was looking into it. Like that was a headline last month.
Oh no! I'm talking about the new ones.
Oh,
The
The
black
latest round.
these ones.
Yeah, the Blackwater guys and
Like Papadopoulos.
and Manafort, Papadopoulos, yeah.
And what's his name?
Kushner's father, Charles Kushner.
No, the other one. Stone.
Yeah, but he was already out of prison. I really don't give a shit.
Yeah, I don't understand. Was he pardoned again? I don't even understand why that.
His sentence was commuted the first time.
Oh,
and
I see.
now it's been pardoned. Now he has been pardoned.
Got it.
Yeah. So what does it mean when you pardon everyone who could, in theory, roll on you in like giving up something? Like if you pardon everyone around you, does that inherently, is that
politically it means literally nothing.
Yeah, to be very clear, he didn't pardon the two people who did roll on him, which was Gates and Cohen.
But they've already done it and he's still around. So I guess the point is like, does it
What do you
matter
mean?
if he pardons them?
What?
My point is, the pardoning I thought was a reason for them not to talk.
Yeah, it is a reward for not talking.
Right. So, but like, who cares if he pardons Cohen at this point because Cohen can't hurt him anymore?
Well, the idea is that he's not going to pardon him because he's not going to reward that behavior.
Right.
He wants everybody who is going to cover up for him in the future for his criminality.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that has not stopped, right?
Right.
Say, if you shut your mouth, I will get you out of this.
And I don't.
Cats don't get pardons.
But blatantly.
Yeah.
Unless
But,
Cohen.
I just want to say again, personally, I'm more fine with all that crap than I am with Blackwater. Right? Like there's politics and then there's war crimes, as far as I'm concerned.
I mean, they're both, I think, equally bad in different ways. Right. One is.
Oh.
Well, one is, can a president just do a bunch of crime and then say, "Oh, I'm just going to pardon everyone around me when I'm done, so we're fine"? Like that's attacking democracy itself. The one where you let a handful of awful people off in, that just looks really bad, but that doesn't, I don't know how much that fundamentally attacks democracy the way that pardoning all these other people is.
As discrete events, like in a vacuum, of course, pardoning the Blackwater people is worse. Not looking towards the future.
Right.
The precedent that pardoning your co-conspirators to subvert democracy
is kind of bad.
Yeah, the precedent that sets for future presidents. That like, oh, we can get away with this.
I think that Biden should
is catastrophic.
Biden should pardon everybody who promises to vote Democrat forever.
So I was reading that this isn't at least the pardoning of the cronies isn't as bad as everyone thinks, because this is a plan that ultimately isn't going to work, because sure, they're pardoned for past offenses, but there are ongoing investigations that they will make these pardoned people testify under oath, and when they continue to lie, then they can nail them again.
Yeah, so
be out of office.
So the problem with that is, so there was this idea that, well, they can't plead the fifth, right? If they have already been pardoned for the crime, they are no longer at risk of incriminating themselves, so they can't plead the fifth. Unfortunately, most of these people have state cases that could be brought against them, and so they can still plead the fifth. Because they're not pardoned for that, so they can't be forced to they can't be compelled to testify to things that could incriminate them in state cases.
Right.
So they still can plead the fifth. They don't have to cooperate.
Okay, so we all agree this
Sorry,
is...
I didn't mean to take the jam out of your donut. Also, I just watched Snatch yesterday, so
there you go.
You did, Tommy. You took the jam out of my donut.
You like Dags?
Snatch is such a good movie.
One thing about the pardons too, I don't like to Trump. I don't think the war criminal stuff is any different than the crony favoritism, because of how it connects back to Betsy DeVos, right? Because her brother is a founder of Blackwater, so it's just Trump doing favors for his friends.
Oh yeah,
but he also pardoned the Navy SEAL.
Yeah, I don't get
nothing
that.
to do with Blackwater.
I don't get that.
Which do you think he's doing that as I want this to be the thing that catches head? Like I never want to give him credit for doing anything smart, but it's hard to tell if he just likes the guy, like he's happy these things happened and he wants to go to his base, or if he's like, I'm going to use this as a distraction. I'm hoping people are going to latch onto this and not, like, he doesn't think that far ahead. So is it just, I like the guy, like I met him and he said I was a good president, therefore pardon? Like, it could be that simple?
Yes, it could be.
Yeah. Not like I'm going to distract from any of the other shit I'm doing, but like, hey, my base loves the military. My base hates Iraqis. So I'm just going to pardon this guy because he killed some Iraqis, and who gives a shit about that?
Yes.
And it's going to win me. Yeah, it's going to win me points.
And
he doesn't give a shit about this guy.
And there was a puff piece on Fox about him once. Like, that's it. Like,
yeah.
Well, and also didn't Trump say early in his campaign, we shouldn't just go after terrorists, we should go after their family? Isn't this kind of an extension of that logic? Like, yeah, of course, like women and children, because you know what? They were probably, in some way related to all of these people that I think are the scum of the earth. So therefore they should have died.
The justification is that, oh, well, they had to try them a few times to like finally get them convicted, and like there really wasn't great evidence against them, which, I mean, it's bullshit, but that's the cover he gets to use to justify it.
Well, I was trying to get more into his head than like the cover he would use. Like,
I do not think that he is trying to get like vengeance against terrorists by killing their families. I don't think he cares at all about any of that.
Not vengeance. I think he just likes killing people who don't look like him. Like, I think it's
I don't think he cares about that at all. I think he cares about grabbing more power, and this is a way to shore up his base, who does care about killing people that don't look like them.
Well, what about the Central Park 5 stuff.
That also shores up his base.
Yeah, I mean, that was a long time ago.
Right.
But that was a long time ago.
It's a bit of a non sequitur, but
No, I think it's similar. It's like, it's whole like Trump
bloody vengeance and eye for an eye like way of thinking. Like that's the mindset. Like that's the base. So just lean into that in every scenario, right? Like that's it. Like they did something, cut all their fucking heads off, right? That's it. That's the end of the depth of insight.
Well, I'm just saying that I think there's a little bit of that in Trump too. And that's why the whole Central Park 5 thing exists.
Yeah. But I don't think that is like his MO for pardoning these people.
No.
I mean, what did Arpaio get him?
Arpaio's again, it's same story. Play to the base.
Yeah, but my point is like Arpaio didn't, outside of playing to the base, there was nothing that Arpaio could get him. Like he was already going to have all of their supporters anyways,
Sure. I mean, it shores things up, right? It's always saying like, I'm here for you.
This is always Trump's play.
Each individual pardon is going to be for different reasons, right?
I guess to the point that Dave's trying to make, I think it wasn't just to shore up the base. I think it's, I really do approve of what you did there. These people are subhuman, and I am happy you did it. Like I feel like I think the blanket indifference, I think is giving too much credit. I think there is like I'm happy you did these things. Look at you have a wife and family at home. I am happy you did these things.
I think if you asked him what Joe Arpaio did, he would have no idea.
Really?
I think that if you asked him what he pardoned him for, like what he was convicted for, Trump has no idea.
That's fair.
It's because he liked him.
He definitely knows about the 10 cities and shit.
I do not think that he can go into any detail at all about any of that. I think that
Come on.
Dave, search your feelings. You know it's true.
Was it on Fox and Friends this morning? Because if it wasn't on Fox and Friends this morning, he doesn't know about it.
Yeah.
Okay. I think it's fair to say maybe past Trump knew about it. And President Trump doesn't know fucking shit.
I think that's a defensible stance, but it's still a little bit of a retreat. So there you go. Let's call it a compromise.
Fine.
Yeah.
We'll move on. We'll move off of the pardons. He's going to do more. Just a prediction I'll throw out there. At this point,
Kyle Rittenhouse.
What's that?
Kyle.
Oh, sure.
Murder is a local thing.
I don't like. Didn't he go across state? Is it being prosecuted federal? Like, didn't he go across state lines for that, or I don't know.
But
anyways,
the murder itself,
is
a local jurisdiction.
No, I was going to say,
you can pardon him for bringing a gun across state lines.
Yeah, that could be something. But I was really just going to go to the heart of it. Like, at this point, he is going to pardon all of his family members and himself, right? Like, that is the end. How many more he's going to do between that is the last pardon he does before he walks out the door, right? Like every family member himself.
The only question I have is whether or not he pardons himself on the way out.
I just assume to me it's a why not? Why not? Like, what's the downside?
So the only downside I can think of is that if he pardons himself, I feel like that absolutely has to be challenged by Democrats.
Yes.
And
it was never actually fully challenged whether or not that would be okay.
And so if he doesn't pardon himself, there's a pretty decent chance Democrats let most of the rest of it slide as like a way to just move on. And so if he doesn't, I think.
But by not pardoning himself, he is exposing himself to those laws. Like he is exposing himself to potential prosecution.
I mean, he's exposed in either scenario, right? There's always other like bullshit that can get
New York State is going to be coming after him.
I mean, Pete just made a point in chat. That's been brought up before, and I think is actually very possible that he could resign and have Pence pardon him. That way, there's no challenging it.
No way.
So they're still challenging it because we don't know whether or not the Ford pardon of Nixon is actually valid because nobody challenged that either.
Exactly.
And there's
Yeah, if he gets a
there are
pardon,
good arguments for why that would not be a valid pardon.
and
And
honestly,
the,
I
the
could see.
optics of it are equivalent anyways. I feel like it's legally pretty close and optically pretty close, and in both cases it makes, like, I'm sorry, giving it up to Pence makes him, that's a loss of control. Like, that's just like, I think it's too far against character. That won't, like, he'll either do it to himself or he won't. I don't see any scenario where Pence gets brought in.
That also plays against Pence constantly trying to distance himself from Trump.
Yeah, Jesus.
I don't think Pence wants anything to do with that scenario.
Yeah,
I feel like at this point, Pence has to 25th Amendment Trump just so he can. It's his only chance to ever be president. Is get him out so that he can be sworn in for 3 days before Biden.
No, he's just going to do the disappear game. He's gonna vote in. He's gonna be the VP who like does the last part of the ceremony to announce Biden as president, and then he's gonna disappear for like a month because he can't be in, like, he won't even be in the States, right? Isn't there already talks that like he's already announced that he's going to like some remote island in like Poland or something like that, and he's just like, yeah, I'll be gone.
That would certainly be the smart play.
Yeah, like he. Will, you're on mute.
Oh.
I don't know.
Are we exiling him to Elba?
No, like I mean, like voluntarily, he's like, I'm gonna make this vote and then I'm gone, because he knows like I don't want to be around for, fundamental, like his base will see it as a betrayal, right?
Trump's going to be furious at him until he finds something else to be mad at. So basically, there's just that time window between like when he says,
Yep.
like, but something else will come up, and then he'll forget that he was mad at Pence.
He's going to go to the island that Luke exiled himself on.
Bringing it back to Star Wars. Love it.
Love it, Adam. All right, so we did the pardons.
Do you think Trump and Pence talk to each other? Like, do you think that he communicates?
No, I think they talk to each other about as much as him and Melania or whatever.
Melania.
Yeah.
Melania, yeah.
He
Or
probably
his
his-
Like through a lawyer.
he has his people call Pence's people.
Exactly.
It's hard to say. It's not like Pence is a good guy. I mean, who knows?
No, he's a terrible person.
Who knows?
Hold on, quick aside. Do you think when Biden's in office, it's worth just pursuing litigation and investigations into the Trump administration?
Yes.
Or is it just a waste of fucking time?
No, it is absolutely.
Yes.
You
Grind
think
them into
for-
the ground. But Biden needs to keep his hands clean.
This
Yeah.
country cannot move forward until that happens.
Biden can't be seen in any official direction. He needs to be as hands off as possible, constantly pushing his own agenda, never even mentioning Trump, and just letting all that shit happen
Yes.
through a bunch of other people.
Correct.
Like reporter asked him, how's the Trump thing going? Being like, hey, look, I'm focused on these like 40 initiatives. Ask me about that. I do not care what happens to Trump. Like, I care that someone look into it, but that is nothing I'm involved with, and then just move on.
Sure.
And no matter what,
While completely supporting it behind the scenes.
Well,
In any ways
I mean,
necessary.
he's not going to stop it. He's going to put in people, and I think it's very easy in his role to put in an AG and just be like, do what you think is right. And never even have to mention Trump, because it's obvious that that's what they're going to have to do. Like, you don't even have to say it,
Yeah, I think that he needs to fully support it, more so than he even leads off to the public. But yeah, you're right. He shouldn't focus on it publicly. There's.
I mean, all that support really requires is like keep a shield up and be hands off and let them do their job. Like, that's literally it, and that's pretty easy.
He doesn't actually need to do anything. And no matter what Fox News is going to say that, Biden's on a witch hunt, like, no matter what he does at this point, he's going to get the same response from everyone. It's all going to be fake and yada, yada, yada. So it's like, he's just going to try. He's going to try and do I'm going to bring everyone together, kumbaya thing. And he'll get insanely blocked.
There's a small percentage of people who will appreciate that, and good.
Right. And maybe he pulls over a senator or two, and maybe it helps, or maybe nothing ever helps there, and who knows. But that's that's his goal, and that's his focus.
And then the death of the universe will come. So we project forward long enough. There we go.
I mean, Obama had to deal with the crap. Now Biden's going to deal with it. But Biden is white, so less inherent hate or traitorous feelings from people for
But Obama gave Obama gave Bush a pass.
Um,
Like he didn't investigate, even though it was obvious there was rampant corruption.
Kind of a different level.
yeah.
Very different. Very different.
Much different level.
And Bush's is much harder. Like it's not so much in your face and not
It's
so
like
obvious.
it's like quaint classic corruption.
Yeah, exactly. I want to get back to that level of corruption.
It's like good old boy, like slapping each other on the back corruption.
I don't know. He tortured a bunch of people, so you know, there's plenty to
And
there's plenty to go
invaded
after him for.
countries and
So
shit.
did Obama. Like that's not. That's
Obama
not,
stopped the torturing. I thought. I didn't think there was torturing under Obama.
Yeah, but he didn't close Guantanamo.
Yeah, we tortured some folks.
we definitely
That
tortured.
was good.
The one thing I think is really important and is that even if they don't prosecute anybody, that they still investigate all of the criminality. So like the crimes that people got pardoned for, those should be fully investigated. Right? Like if they do any preemptive pardons, should be fully investigated. Like we know that we can't prosecute you, but we need to find out what happened here.
Like
Sure.
what you did.
And the public needs to know about it. Like, yeah, you're not going to go to jail for it, but like the citizens have a right to know.
And there's still going to be fallout.
How bad this corruption was.
Like just because they pardoned Manafort doesn't mean that like a lawyer or a tax attorney, or financial consultants, like they can't find a splash of people around them. Because if they realize that they're also vulnerable, you also hurt the next. You know what I mean? Like if you can get the blast radius of them as well, then less people will be inclined to enable these terrible people, right? Less companies, right?
And it'll also almost certainly uncover additional criminality that wasn't pardoned.
Right.
I guess
yes.
I guess the thing I worry about is at the end of the day, yeah, everything you guys are saying makes sense, but like politically, it's also dangerous, right? Like you have to be very deft about how you play your cards, because you know you do this at the wrong moment in the 2022 midterm and it fucks you, because you motivate the right and you get them super pissed and then they vote your ass out of office.
I think that this is beyond political calculus.
Yeah. No. There needs
Everything is political calculus.
I get what you're saying, but like I feel like the corruption here was so vast and so large that it has to be uncovered, even if there is a political price to pay for that.
Yeah.
I really
And like,
want to win.
and if it does get,
in
and if it does get
2022.
uncovered, and there's a political price to pay for it, then we're not living in the country that I necessarily want to live in.
Yeah, that's the trick. There does always have to be a red line point that you personally need to kind of have for yourself. And like both of you are totally right. Like if you want to play it to win it, then there's one choice, and if you want to play it to try to say like this is how the government in this country is supposed to operate, right? Like eventually those two things come into conflict, and you have to pick like where you break or not, right? Yeah,
Right.
It sucks. Fuck this conversation for happening.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the reason that Democrats lose, because I think that like the kind of Machiavellian game theory way of treating politics is like, no, we should hold ourselves to a higher standard, and then we just lose.
And then we get our
That's
ass.
why good will always lose.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
Good
Because good
is
stupid.
dumb.
Adam, what is your opinion on all of this? Because I haven't heard you say much.
I mean, I don't know. I think things should be investigated. I don't believe they will be fully. I don't know. I guess I don't have as an informed an opinion as many of you. That's why I was just kind of standing to the side and letting you talk it out and kind of absorbing things as best I could. But I don't know. I don't have. I'm too cynical to feel like anything worthwhile is going to be done to any of these people, either through investigation or actual punishment. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. I guess.
Oh yeah, no, nothing's going to happen to any of them.
Yeah. So
I mean, even Will's like, burn them at the stake is more like expose everything they did and write it down, and then half the country won't even believe it anyways. But still going through the act of doing it is the point, right? Like this needs to happen, right?
Yeah, and
That's the bad thing there, is
I
that
don't.
half the country won't believe it. Like, in my mind, I'm like, oh yeah, absolutely, we should uncover everything, and that will save our country, and we'll be, all the more wiser. But half the country is gonna be like, that's the same. It's fake news. Like,
No,
you're
not half, not half.
Not-
though. It's
Not only
All right,
that,
no, yes, it's a third or 40%.
which is the point. Like,
Yeah, that is yes.
but it's not only that. They're also going to be saying it was a complete waste of money to investigate and
Right.
all the resources and time. It's going to motivate.
I don't
Like,
I don't think anyone outside of Trump's hardcore base, I don't think looks at the investigation into the election interference outside of his hardcore base as a waste of time. Like the people that are kind of in the middle that aren't 100% Trump all the way, they don't see that as a waste of time, right? They might attack the left for maybe implying a stronger like correlation between Trump winning and it, and implying that the only reason Trump won was because of it, right? And some people on the left will certainly be saying that, but I don't think that was seen as fake news to 60 to 65% of the country. I thought that was seen as like a bunch of bad shit happened, and that needed to happen.
So I mean,
74
Trump's approval rating.
Sorry, I was just going to say 74 million people still voted for the man. Like even after everything that has happened.
But 74 million people aren't like true believers.
Yeah, and even that is like a third of the country.
But what I'm saying is that I don't think you need to be a true believer to question these results, because clearly these people were doing that already. They were questioning his COVID response. Like 74 million people, really? They were okay with his COVID response?
Yes, they were.
It's not that far of a leap to say, okay, these people, 74 million people are okay with his COVID response. They're also going to be questioning whether, this uncovered corruption is actually legit or a witch hunt.
Right.
I think that the overwhelming majority of that 74 million is not, it just doesn't have enough information to care one way or the other. They're just always Republicans. They're single issue voters for either guns or abortion rights. And then there's like, a percentage of that base, which is probably pretty high. I would say like half of that base, 30 million people, 40 million people that are true believers, right? That do believe that like the election was legitimately stolen from Trump. But I don't think that the majority do. And his approval rating has gone down by 7 points since the election. And usually, so in the past, when an incumbent president has lost, or like when presidents lose, their approval rating goes up after their loss. Because like you immediately start kind of the rose-tinted glasses.
Right.
And again, like, yes, 74 million is big, but remember the total number of people we're talking about and what fraction that is. Think about that as the pie, right?
80 million is more. So
yeah, 80 million is more, and like it's
the did not vote was more.
The rest of the people couldn't even be bothered.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
But there's so much noise.
But when you get into why people care, the idea that an investigation would turn people away, I think is a wrong take, is the point. Like, the investigation for the people who are going to vote Trump or whoever the next Republican are, the investigation is meaningless to them. Who is it for? It's for people on the left, and it's for people who aren't ideologues on the right, and might say like, I don't see it turning people to the right, and I don't see it making people not want to vote.
I see people just center right pushing them further to the right.
That's the Earl argument, and I don't believe that. I just don't like.
Then it just has to be done carefully. What is the correct response? Is to do nothing? Like, that can't.
Yeah, my argument is it doesn't matter what the politics are; it still has to be done.
See, well, this is my argument about like every Bernie position, by the way, but whatever.
My argument is it should be done, but it should be done well.
Right. Yes.
Okay, Dave. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's a pretty okay. So as long as
Jim, just throw strikes.
good
As long as
regulations
there
are
are
good.
no,
Yeah. Okay.
no flaws or setbacks.
Yeah. No. As long as no one has any gaffe anywhere, or even the appearance of a gaffe, which is uncontrollable in many circumstances. As long as a Republican doesn't start to call it a waste of time, then we'll be fine. So we just have to hope the Republicans won't call it a waste of time, and then we'll know it's not a waste of time. But if they do, how are you going to judge that, Dave? How are you going to judge if it was a waste of time? Yeah, like
the only thing that could sink this investigation is if there's a Democrat that's having an affair. Be honest.
oh, so this is what I would like.
Are we past that? If that happens again, are we just gonna? Do we get to all laugh at it?
Okay, can we? Oh God damn it! How do you say this the right way? Can I really do want everyone on the left to just agree on things that we can all agree to not.
No, that's like literally antithetical
That's impossible.
to the left.
Okay, that's
Like,
fair.
that's
Yeah,
not-
you're done. Whatever you're saying.
A party of caring.
You motherfuckers! I tried to say
I-
something.
You didn't even get to finish your sentence. Nope.
Can the left just? And everyone's like, nope,
Nope.
nope,
No, definitely
nope.
Nope. Answer no.
Nazis bad. After that, you're done.
we
We have all the people that feel strongly about everything.
I don't know if I saw this.
Like literally about individual freedom, as opposed to just the word being used as a code for conformity.
No, the right wants freedom. They want the freedom to be racist. That's all. Like, yeah, they just want different freedoms. That's all.
Like the South wanted states' rights. They wanted the state right to be able to continue slavery.
Arguably a freedom. Arguably a freedom. Like, we took those freedoms away. Like, yeah. Like, if you're for more freedom in that way, then it's anti-freedom to make slaves illegal.
In that vein, quick aside, did you see the PragerU defense of Robert E. Lee?
Yes.
Which was basically like...
Did any of you actually watch it? I'm just curious.
Yeah, I watched it.
Yeah, it's not very long.
It's like, yeah, it's 3 minutes.
Yeah.
As mentioned before, I can't click on it, but...
Oh, I didn't realize this was brought up before.
What are you talking about? No, it hit one of the channels for a few minutes, but yeah, no, it's just blatant mask off racism. Like they as a point positive for Robert E. Lee on why the statue should exist. He said something like, a black person taken from Africa has a better life as a slave than they did back home, so we've uplifted them. Like, that was a statement, a bullet point as to a positive for why Robert E. Lee should have a statue.
Well, it was him saying, I don't support slavery, but slavery is actually worse for white people because the net benefit of Africans coming here to be slaves is higher than if they were still in Africa.
Yes,
like their quality of life.
Yeah, we've
That's
upped their
when
quality.
you know you're fucking up was when you add that but.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's like you just
I'm
stop.
not racist, but
Yeah, slavery's bad.
Everything after but is going to be racist.
Right. I'm not a racist, but it's like, do you realize that you are just now saying you're a racist? Like, that's all you're saying at this point. You cannot put a but there.
I don't mean to be a Karen, but
yeah,
please speak with your manager.
Right. So you don't want to be generally labeled a Karen while fully admitting you're gonna be a Karen in this instance.
I'd like to speak with slavery's manager, please.
Yeah, it's PragerU was better at masking it. Like, it was still dog whistles, and now it's just blowing a whistle. Like, it's not. This isn't a dog whistle. This isn't even. They're not even trying one ply deep to hide it. They're just basically saying racism is good. We really want the racism. You know.
It's like they took some KKK member's son's book report on Robert E. Lee and made it into a like pro Robert E. Lee video on PragerU. Like, it was
this
so
is pretty good.
Yeah,
this kid's got a lot of points. How come no one's ever talking about this?
I'm curious what the other bullet points were now because I haven't watched it.
Oh Christ! Here is
I think he died of a stroke. I think was one of the bullet points.
no the slave rebellion which was done by, oh Christ, I can't remember the names, but there's a guy who did that, like Robert E. Lee put down the slave rebellion, and it's just like the laughable contradiction. The person doing the slave rebellion was treasonous, and it's like, so you're talking about Robert E. Lee and you're calling out a slave rebellion which he put down, which arguably is like, so wait, he squashed a bunch of slaves that wanted rights. This is a positive because what they were doing was treasonous. They were treasonous. Not like, while talking about the guy leading team treason. Like it is just
it's because they weren't following the laws. They weren't being slaves. The law was they slaves.
Arguably what the South was doing when they seceded. Like that, the whole point is like he joined team treason and is like, look at these treasonous people below me. Look at all the good I'm doing, putting down the trees. Like, you've already lost this. So yeah, he put down a slave rebellion, and this is a positive.
And he was also the great grandson of Martha Washington.
Oh yeah,
something like that. Like he was related to George Washington,
and he's buried close to him. So therefore, like it was like, what bullet points did you find? They're like, hey,
seriously, 7th grade book report. Like this is the equivalent of like my Amelia Earhart book report.
Right.
This is terrible.
This is like a dude who's like, they're like, oh, we got to put out a statement about why we want to keep this statue. And he's like, I got it. Guys, I got this. I don't need to workshop it. I got this shit locked down. Just trust me. It's going to be fine.
I wonder if whatever intern at PragerU, they were like, hey, look, we need a video about Robert E. Lee. We got to save these statues. We got to save his name on these streets. So go find some positive things we can put in a video. And he's like, oh man, I did a bunch of research, and it turns out he was a really bad guy. Like, it's like, all right, so what do you got? It's like, well, he was related to George Washington. Like, that's the best thing I got. Like, that's the only non-bad thing I have.
No, I want to know what showed up on the cutting room floor of that conversation, right? Like, would it be like this close?
No, the idea that they had to keep squashing a slave rebellion and that black people are better off as slaves than living in Africa. Like, how did those make the cut? Like, where was the line?
He only raped ...
Yeah.
They were asking for it.
Right.
Like, what?
Yeah, it's pretty bad. PragerU is, I don't know, that guy Dennis Prager. He's like Jordan Peterson-esque, right? He wants women to be wives and to have sex on demand when the man wants it, and if the man wants it, it is her job and her requirement to perform for him at any time of the day.
I guess I haven't watched enough PragerU.
He's a monster. So,
I mean, is this inferred or like?
No, he says if a husband like comes home from a day and he wants something, like it is her duty, no matter if she has a headache or a little, like you can see the projection, right? Of like, I don't want to fucking hear about this. I don't want to hear about this. like you can see, like this is just him complaining, right? And just being like, why?
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, but it's just that. And when he interviews with people that are even on the right, they look at him like, holy shit. Like this guy he just wants her to be like, look, I want to have sex right now. And this is what you agreed to. I don't see what the problem is.
Schulteis is quiet because he's subscribed to the PragerU YouTube channel.
So
Schulteis is actively clicking the unsubscribe button very quickly right now.
He's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
This is a subscription list to get out to the public.
Yeah, no, he's a terrible person. It's like he was never part of the intellectual dark web, but he was like dark web adjacent. You know, he sits with like Adam Carolla. Remember that guy from the Man Show? Yeah, that show did it.
Well, this guy lives down the road from you in Brooklyn.
What's that?
This guy lives down the road from Will in Brooklyn.
Who does?
Dennis Prager.
Dude, he's a terrible
Really?
person.
Yeah.
Well, if you see him, you have to twisted tea him. That's what you have to do.
Jeez.
I asked Megan, like, hey, do you think Paul Manafort's going to still have his brownstone on Carroll Street, which is like a couple blocks from me? And she's like, why? You want to go like toilet paper his house or something? I was like, no, I'll go beat the shit out of him. Like somebody has to make him pay. Like, and he's 71. I think I can take him.
Please stream it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not filing.
You could cut that part from the podcast. Don't publish that on the internet.
Well, I'll give you a week to do your business, and if you do it, I'll cut it before posting. Okay, so you got a week.
Yeah, I'm definitely not going to go beat the shit out of 71-year-olds. I'm not going to go beat the shit out of anybody. But like, there is the like.
I mean, let's just say if the opportunity fell,
hypothetically,
you guys are in an alleyway together. There's no cameras around.
That is a dangerous hypothetical because like that list gets way longer.
Well, it's the punch a Nazi argument, right? Like,
yeah, exactly, right.
That's what it is, right?
Yeah.
Basically, Captain America.
Yes, I am Captain. I mean,
yes,
clearly.
Yes.
Don't I look like Captain America?
I think good. You're gonna go on a limb and say that
you've got the beard.
You're probably
You're fucking no. I'm like Captain Iowa. I'm like Captain. I'm Captain Cornfed.
Okay. Well,
what else you got, Jim?
Well, let's see. We got the pardons. Do you want to talk about the Georgia Senate runoff? Is there anything interesting there? I don't know what to say besides it looks like it's going to be close, and I hope Democrats win. Is there anything you want to call out there?
Just that I am hopeful, which is surprising because I was such a pessimist going into it. Namely, based on the reporting coming out of Georgia's NPR station, where there's just like, yeah, the early voting numbers are pretty shockingly pro-Democrat right now.
Yeah, I think Democrats are voting at like 11 points ahead of where they were at this point in the general.
Wow.
Right.
And weren't the Republicans also told not to go vote? Like, weren't there a bunch of rallies where they said it's rigged, don't go vote? Like, that had to have had some negative effect, right?
I think.
Well, this is my big hope.
Yeah, I think the bigger negative effect is like Trump, like putting this $2,000 check fucking bomb in the Senate's lap.
Yep.
And like you get all of the Democrats be like, well, yeah, $2,000 done. Like that's what we wanted.
Let's do it, baby.
And like now you have Perdue and Loeffler having to answer about it.
Didn't they vote yes for it?
They said they would. They said
There's no vote.
And Loeffler doesn't want to give a dime.
So they did like 4 or 5 days of skirting dodging the question, and then now they're like pro under the right circumstances.
Is this okay? So this is just because I haven't followed up. So there was a bill that the House passed, the Senate passed. It went to Trump. Trump said, "I don't like it. It's $600. I want $2,000." And then he ended up signing it, right? Like he signed that bill, right? Like that's done. Now we're talking about another bill, correct?
So he sat on it for a week, threatening to veto it, letting people's unemployment run out, and then finally signed it.
With no changes.
Yep. With no changes, but the promise of doing a vote on the $2,000 check, direct payments, the Section 230 repeal for tech companies, and starting a commission on investigating voter fraud. And that is what he was promised.
So basically, he got nothing for that week. He just hurt people, and he got played because getting a promise to go forward is pretty meaningless, right? So basically, he complained that something had to change, and then nothing changed, and he signed it.
The thing is he can spin it any way he wants to his base.
Yeah,
well, but his base will believe anything. I mean, he could literally say he didn't sign the bill, and they would believe him. Like, it doesn't matter what he says to his base. They'll believe up his down. Like, I'm worried about everyone else, not like the hardcore base that doesn't care. Like, I don't know what to do with them. But he does look like an idiot to anyone who is not an ideologue. right?
If the $2,000 payments somehow get passed, he will take full credit for it, and he will have a compelling argument for why.
But McConnell tied Section 230 repeal, which he sees as the poison pill to that legislation, correct?
Well, so is the Commission of Voter Fraud.
I don't think he has yet, but that sounds like that's the plan.
So let's talk
to
about the
have-
Section
have
230.
Democrats shut it down.
Well, yeah. So McConnell said there's no path forward, so it's not happening. It's not happening.
And again, those are all the in progress things. Will's just saying, like, in the end, if $2,000 shows up, Trump gets to say he wins. Period.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting turn of events because he will be he will be on the side of Democrats in a weird way, and outside of his.
I mean, we talked about it in chat a bunch. Like, he gets to paint targets on rhinos and get $2,000 to true believers. It's a really good play.
But I care less about Trump in that circumstance and more of the future of the Republican Party. Like, Trump's going out of office. So how did, like, I see that potentially hurting Republicans.
No.
Trump is going out of office, but Trump is clearly the flag bearer of the Republican Party. So it doesn't matter whether or not he is out of office. He's still going to control the narrative on the Republican side.
And any people who don't kowtow to whatever he says, regardless of their previous ideological stance, are enemies. So they need to go.
Okay, but McConnell's not going anywhere.
Right, and if Trump could get rid of him and replace him with a toady, he would. And
which is my exact point. He can't just get rid of McConnell.
Yeah, not for another 6 years, but he can get rid of lots of other people who are up in 2 years who have to have primaries.
So then shouldn't that mean that if this came to a vote, every Republican senator would be voting for it?
Well, you're
going against the cardinal sin of the GOP.
No, I mean that's the play that Trump is making, right? And some Republican senators feel secure enough that they don't have to, right? And
which shows that, yeah,
and some do. And I would fully expect that the ones who didn't will get primaried.
Yeah, which is why McConnell says no to it.
Which would be the majority of them.
I couldn't comment on that, but McConnell loses his power, like Republicans that are more like wonky ideologues than people that are Trump cultists, right? The more like QAnon Trump cultists there are, the less people who are like in his camp.
Yeah, McConnell's doing the smart thing by just not putting it up for a vote.
Correct.
And not making his Republican senators take a hit for voting against it.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's the reason he's pissed at the senator from Missouri, Hawley, for objecting on who said he's going to object on January 6th because he's going to make everybody in the Senate go on record about the election.
Because that puts big crosshairs on anybody who isn't a Trump cultist.
Yeah. So if you just say nobody object.
Trump is playing for controlling and continuing to control the GOP. So he needs to strip out everybody who doesn't just do what he says. I read my post in the
That's
Slack.
what this podcast is for. It's to summarize and go deeper on things in Slack.
I just feel like
our viewers can't read Slack, Brian.
Yeah, well, okay. I apologize.
I feel like there's
like 2 viewers.
I feel like you're overvaluing Trump out of office, and I think you are undervaluing like the Republican establishment.
No. They are fighting each other right now. I couldn't honestly say which one is stronger, but they're trying to kill each other.
Do you think that Trump leaves the political sphere after office in the same way that like Obama, that other former presidents have? No chance.
No.
That fucking guy is on Twitter. That guy is on every single Fox and Newsmax, and
probably won't
be on Twitter for now.
But yeah, Twitter might get rid of him, but
irrelevant. It will not change anything.
Yeah,
I think that's pretty significant, actually.
He will get his voice out there one way or the other.
Correct.
If he spends his time attacking Republicans, I wonder how far he'll get his voice out there from a place like Fox News who might try and pull
He's not overtly attacking Republicans. That's not what he's doing.
But Fox News does not bring on people who attack Republicans, and he does attack Republicans. So, anyways, I wonder if he's going to split in a way that they might actually take a hard stance against him in a meaningful way.
We'll see. I mean, I'm excited. Like, if he fucks over Georgia, the rest of the GOP are going to be like, Jesus Christ.
Holy shit, yes. Holy crap.
Well, that's my point.
50-50. That's a different story.
Well, like, no, but like if the Democrats take Georgia because of Trump, the idea that like if Trump then goes on a campaign because a Republican who's kind of centerish like says something kind of public about Trump and Trump just spends all this time blasting that Republican,
it just decreases his ability to prune non-believers. That's all.
No, but my
Still
point
gonna
is
try to.
He is propped up in a way that I think that propping up is going to fade in a big way. And he's still going to have his core, but I think there's a propping up that he gets, and I think there's a bump in his approval rating as being a Republican. Like if the Republicans were to, in theory, ostracize him, which they wouldn't do, but at least limit his impact, like he doesn't retain all 30-something 5%. He probably goes to like low mid 20s. He doesn't get all 35. Like there is a group of, he will split the ideologues from the people who are just going to vote Republican no matter what.
Yeah, it's great. I love it.
Sure. Yeah, it's still his play.
Yeah, he's going to do it.
Like, I'm not saying he's a brilliant strategist. I'm saying this is the only way that he can still consolidate power, and so he's going to do it.
Yeah.
Yep. And the Republicans have to either walk a really fine line or take the fight directly to him,
which maybe will happen.
Because it's really tricky because their voting base sides with Trump, not them. That's the trick. So it
makes me so happy.
Yeah, like Stephen King said, the Republicans are all surprised that they sowed dragon's teeth and they got dragons.
Right.
Wait, is that how you get dragons? Because I gotta go plant some dragon teeth. Well, that feels
like play out like that scenario, right? Trump runs as an independent, and the Republican.
We'll never do that. What are you talking about?
No,
he just wins the primary again.
No. I'm saying in a theoretical exercise, if you were to take the Republican base and split it, and say, are you a Trump supporter or are you Republican, and you had to pick one, where do you think that split is?
I'm confused by your question.
Yeah,
put it in an actual, a realistic hypothetical.
Are you asking if Trump starts the Trump party?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, are you asking if there are more Republicans that are true believers or more Republicans who are not?
Yeah, no, I'm saying what's that split of the Republican Party? If Trump ran as a third party, he made a Trump party, and he's like, I'm running.
He's not going to run as a third party. He's going to run. He's going to run in the Republican primary.
Sure.
He runs again.
There are slightly more Trumpers than non-Trumpers.
Okay. So you think it's like 60-40 of the Republican Party that are
I think it's even closer. I think it's like 55-45.
It is statistically significant.
Yeah, no, I felt like it was probably about half, which means he can't run as a third party because he wouldn't get the other half. He will run as Republican. I'm saying in the theoretical splitting it, how many people actually would just vote Republican because they vote Republican, and how many would actually move to Trump? That's all. Like if it was
the majority of the Republican Party will vote for Trump, whatever he is.
I don't think so. I think it's like 50-50. I think if like you brought like a George Bush in there and you brought a Trump and those were the two candidates running, I don't know if Trump would get
Trump is the modern Republican voter.
Yeah, okay. That's fair.
The aggrieved
the aggrieved white dude.
Yeah.
Right. Turns out it was never about taxes and lowering them.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't.
It had nothing to do with the national debt. To address something Pete said in chat, Bernie has tried to filibuster, and it looks like he'll keep Congress or Senate in session for the next couple of days. So they'll be in session until the 2nd, when they can have a vote for cloture, I guess, and then have an actual vote. They couldn't do it by unanimous decree.
So got it.
Wow.
Go Bernie.
So yeah, the idea being that he keeps them out of Georgia for a few days.
Oh,
There you go.
cool.
Yeah. So because they're sitting senators, they have to be there to vote.
Okay, so I'll get off this topic.
Yeah, Bernie.
Let's get into. I'll just peel off of this. So looking back at 2020,
Hold on. Time out. I gotta drop. I'm fading.
That's good.
Okay.
All
This
right,
is the last
Can I-
segment. Hey, Bears, Andrew, before you go, 2020, best moment, worst moment. Give me something,
Oh God.
and then you can drop.
Best moment, vaccines. Worst
Yeah, right.
moment.
Didn't you have a son born in 2020?
I did.
Oh, burn.
Oh, dude, Will, man, he's tired. He's tired.
Sorry, man. That was an easy one. I had to get it in.
Yes, of course.
The son, my
Andrew,
third son. is the
Andrew,
light of
what's
my
his
life.
name? What's his name, Andrew?
I don't know. I
What
don't know.
birthday- What's his birthday?
I don't have anything. I don't have anything for this. I gotta go.
Third boy.
All right, Andrew.
All right.
Talk to you later, man.
It's a trap.
Later.
It's a trap. It's a trap. All right. Is anyone else fading that wants to drop right now? Anyone else? If not, we'll go around.
No, I'm good.
All
Yeah, I
right.
think we should do the 2020 the New Year's topics because they're good ones.
The
Standard.
what the New Year's topic? What New Year's topics?
Yeah, like all of the best moments, worst moments. What are your resolutions? What resolutions did you keep? Things, shit like that.
Yeah. So this one was. I thought I wasn't gonna.
Adam's like, I don't want to hear about this shit. I'm going.
No, I'm wondering about how narrow it has to be. I hate best moments. I don't like favorites and bests that are
Jesus,
so
Adam.
narrow.
Take a goddamn stand.
My best moment of 2020 is that Adam got brought into our Slack group.
This is true.
So that
Hey.
so that he can keep the meme channel alive.
This guy's a motherfucker because that's what I was gonna say. Connecting with you guys.
I fucking blew up Adam right there.
Dude, you can share that. You can share that, Adam. This is true. Adam coming in, awesome. Happy that everything came back in with you, and you've been sucked back into the mold or whatever we want to call this. So yeah, that's awesome. The fold. The mold.
Yeah, I am happy to be back in the fold. That's exactly what I was gonna say. After a decade plus of kind of losing touch with you guys, that's been a nice shining spot of 2020 for me.
You were actually secretly exiled. We just decided not to talk about it for 10 years.
I mean,
and then
honestly, that's pretty much what I assumed for 15
Mhm.
We brought you back back in from the cold.
he looks like he's shivering out there. Should we let him back in?
I actually am. The door was just open next to me, and it is freezing here.
All right. Well, Brian, any one, two, or all three of them, resolution for next year, best moment of 20 or worst moment of 2020. Answer any number of them.
I don't know. I wasn't really
You heard me blow up Habers about a son. Then I screwed over.
Oh right. Oh,
and you weren't thinking about this ahead of time. Like,
sorry. The new daughter. There you go. That's the best. I mean, working from home has been really interesting and fun, and I got to spend a lot of time with Zoe and Alina, and that's been fun. I kind of like being a shut-in.
Any resolution for next year?
Exercise more. I gotta work on that one.
Sure.
That's like as basic a resolution as you can get, right?
I don't know. It's something.
Actually, I think what I want to do is run D&D. I gotta run a game. I gotta get it going before Child 2 comes up.
Cool. All right, Dave, you're up.
Best thing, probably the Dots acquisition. That was pretty good.
Oh yeah.
That was a big one. That
was good.
That's a baby you don't have to be reminded of.
No, actually, the Dots acquisition allows me to not have to remember about my mortgage. I don't have one anymore. It was great. It's fucking great.
Wait, you didn't just dump your Dots acquisition money into Bitcoin? like Haber's.
I mean,
television.
Haber. I mean, I should have listened to Haber.
Dude, let's be honest. We all should have listened to Habers, that asshole. Just don't. We're not talking. We're not talking about that. All right.
Yeah, and on the
always
downside,
bet on black. Always bet on Habers.
Not fucking
Seriously.
Habers, man. Why do I ever doubt that guy? I don't know why.
There is the scales of the universe have always tilted towards Habers for some reason.
I've always gone Habers. I've always come up Habers.
Yeah, everything's coming up Habers.
Everything's coming up.
and yet we try to bet against him every time. And
Because he's
fail.
gonna. It's like we're shorting him. He's got to lose sometime.
Yeah,
and when he does,
lose.
I'm fucking cashing in.
Right, and then I don't know what happened. It's all gone.
Dave, what were you saying? A bad thing?
Oh, I was just gonna say downside is I've known several family members who have passed away from COVID. Like I feel like COVID is like a thing where it's like, oh, it's really easy to dismiss, especially at our age, where you're like on the cusp of it being serious. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, we're not in our 20s anymore, but I don't know, man. It's just like
how many family
sucks.
members
Like
did you lose?
2, and then a third family member died. Like my uncle died at the very beginning back in March, or like he died in March. His funeral was in April, and no one went to the funeral because COVID.
Yeah,
but it's
one of the
that
relations had that happen.
Yeah, so it's like that's been like the reoccurring story of 2020. It's just like so many people dying, and then you're like, and then you don't even get to say goodbye, which is fucked up.
Well, Dave, yeah, that was actually a terrible thing that happened in 2020. So yeah,
did you think worst thing that happened in 2020 was going to be like light? It's
I
fucking
mean,
2020.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the worst thing that's ever happened.
I kind of opened the door on that one, didn't I?
Wait, I want to know Pete's. Pete has one in chat.
He says I only have one, and then he didn't say anything.
I think he was referring to his number of bitcoins.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh yes, yeah, thumbs up. Yeah, so you only have $26,000 or 24 or whatever it is right now.
28.
28. Damn.
All right, Dave. What's a prediction for
you.
2021? What's a resolution for 2021? Let's end on a.
My high note, my optimistic thing is I think general us back of the line folk will be able to get our hands on some vaccine end of April, early May. And it's definitely dicey to make that a reality. And we got a lot of vaccine to dole out before we get our hands on it, but I'm hopeful. I'm very optimistic and hopeful.
I would advise you to avoid any of the articles that are currently titled millions of vaccines are going to expire undistributed.
What?
Because we have the worst administration in the
Turns
history of
out, if
administrations.
you have no national plan on how to administer all of these vaccines, and you don't fund state and local governments,
this is the worst part of 2020.
They don't know what to do.
Yeah.
No fucking way,
dude. This is why republicanism. It's up to the states. Why the federal government should never get involved. And then you go to the state level, and they're like, "Hey, it's up to the counties." And you go to the county level, they're like, "Hey, it's up to the hospital." And you go to the hospital, like, "Hey, it's up to the worker." It's like, so the worker is supposed to drive to the distribution place and grab them, and then like, is that the plan? It's like, yeah, like the worker's got to figure it out. It's like, oh
no, you go to the states, and the states are like, "Hey, we'd love to help deliver all this stuff, but remember back like 30 years ago when we started cutting your taxes?"
Yeah.
And we don't have a income tax or sales tax anymore. Don't really have money to help you guys out right now.
But we're glad you have that extra $50 in your pocket.
Yeah.
Don't die.
No, COVID should be the biggest case for why large government should exist.
Fucking Trump.
Yeah, man.
Sorry, I didn't mean to burst your bubble there.
Adults are coming. Adults are taking over soon, and the amount of setbacks that continues to create will they will start to be overcome, but it's a long road.
I really want to know why or what prevents the administration from like eminent domaining the vaccine, or doing like the War Production Act or whatever to just say like, oh cool, any lab that is capable of making any of these vaccines now has to make these vaccines. Like that is your only job.
Because it's a democratic hoax.
Well, yeah, no, because the coronavirus is a hoax, and it's not really that big of a deal. So why would you eminent domain on a vaccine when it's not that big of a deal?
No, I don't think that's the reason.
Okay.
I think the reason is because they don't take it seriously.
Yeah,
and that's literally what I just said. But
they're lazy.
Yeah, yes, all those things. There are much more important things to be spending your energy on, like fighting the results of a democratic and free and fair election.
I kind of mean the next administration, not this current.
Oh, sure.
Oh, yeah, no,
Biden's
Biden.
already said he wants to like invoke war powers.
Yeah, no, I expect Biden.
Oh, then I missed that. For that.
Everything I hear policy-wise coming out of Biden is very exciting.
I mean, exciting in a boring, wonky way, but that's exactly what I want.
Yeah,
I mean legitimately exciting. Like the climate stuff that they're planning is pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, Biden's way further to the left than people gave him credit for during the primary.
Yep.
He's just not nearly as far to the left as Warren and Sanders. So
yeah,
so it didn't count.
Yeah, it's like, he's not doing single payer, but he's doing a lot of other shit.
I mean, we'll see. I will give you the optimistic angle for now, and I'll say that sounds great, and I hope that sentiment carries through.
Chip was like, Joe Biden is just old Mitt Romney.
I mean, no, he's Mitt Romney with a better smile, because I think he has a better smile than Mitt Romney. I'll be honest.
How many dogs did he put on top of his convertible? 0.
I'm just saying. I will stay in the camp of I hope he has that kind of progressive kind of injection hold, and in all of his we got to bridge the gap between Democrats and Republicans. He then does it on the other side, smash progressives, on this coming together kumbaya train that he's on. So we'll see.
We'll see. I bet you money he gets student loan forgiveness.
That'd be great.
He said $10,000.
Something.
Yeah, that'd be fucking huge.
It's something.
It turns out like something like 40+% of student loan debt is under $20,000.
Yeah, no, 10,000 feels. I mean, there's no way that's not. I mean, that's something.
No, all the people who have their fucking graduate degrees in something useless are real pissed about it. I'm my MFA in 16th century Spanish, whatever, poetry. And I spent $200,000 on that degree. I need you to forgive me on my student loan. It's like, yeah, you're going to get $10,000 like everybody else. And like the other 190,000, that's your fault. Like, you fucking knew.
I mean, honestly, in this day and age, just start a YouTube channel and start talking. You'll find the money.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because that is so specific. So all right, we'll move to you. You kind of answered some stuff. Do you have any predictions of 2021? Or you can answer all of them. I know you kind of answered a little bit. You can go down the whole list if you want.
The good, the bad, the predictions.
Yeah, best moment for me is how easily my job transitioned to work from home.
Oh, yeah.
Realizing how completely unaffected I was from an economic, from a financial standpoint by COVID, right? Like that my financial health didn't change in any meaningful way, and how incredibly lucky I am that is the case. Worst moment is, I mean, I've left my apartment less than 10 times in 9 months. 10 months. That's pretty bad. But yeah, I mean, I've been in a really, really shitty year. I've been pretty lucky that I haven't been personally affected outside of being inconvenienced. And so I got to kind of take that as a blessing, right? Predictions for 2021. I mean, I think the world is too random at this point.
Put a stake in the ground. Come on.
You pussy. Well played.
No, I mean, I think that there will be criminal fallout from the Trump campaign or from the Trump administration. Like, I think that people will go to jail over this. And I think people pretty high up will go to jail over this. Because
That's a good prediction.
There's all kinds of leftover garbage that can't all be pardoned ahead of time.
Yeah, pardons. The nice thing about pardons is they have to be pretty explicit.
Yeah, and they're all they look like such garbage.
Yeah,
on your permanent record.
Yeah, so I think that there will be some criminal fallout. I think that when Trump doesn't have any actual power, and he's only part of the kind of political zeitgeist, like kind of the sphere of influence, I think people will be less afraid of him, even though that's not the play that he's making right now. And obviously that's kind of up in the air and TBD. I think that he will find himself to be less influential than he thought he would be. And that's what I'm hopeful for. Resolutions is, I want to get like better at chess in like a meaningful way. So I am pretty, I play chess a lot, but I'm really casual about it. Like, I'll watch YouTube videos because I like the analysis, but I don't really digest much of it. And I don't spend a ton of time legitimately studying, like really rigorously studying chess, even though I love playing it. So I want to get kind of, meaningfully good at chess.
Very cool.
That is my 2021 resolution. If it goes like
Random.
guitar, then I'll be able to play 2 songs. So I'll know 2 openings. And if anything happens outside of there, I will lose.
Random chess question. Does the meta change?
Yeah, absolutely. But it takes a long time. And it's not really a meta in the sense of these things get played more often and therefore I'm going to play these things. It's more of a, we have fucking computers now and we can analyze this in a much different way than we could analyze it before.
Okay.
And it turns out that some of like these things are just better. So they get played more often.
The game starts at turn 30 instead of 4.
Yeah, opening preparation at the highest levels is ridiculous. Where you can get to like move like 20 without it being a unique game yet. It's like, and the way you can tell is the first move that somebody takes longer than like 20 seconds to make. And it's like, we are now outside of preparation. Like you've had to think for more than 20 seconds about the move that you're going to make. Like now you don't know, you've never seen this position before. Yeah. I heard an interesting thing about chess. This is where maybe we should just not allow castling anymore. Because now all of the all of the preparation that has been done, like all of the learning that has been done goes out the window.
Right.
And now it's down to skill more than memorization.
Yeah, but that'll switch over in like record time, right?
I mean, you have hundreds of years of history to draw from.
Yeah, but now you've got the computers to do it, man. I don't know. Yeah. That seems.
Well, so there's a variant called chess.
That sounds like it'll resolve back to the same issue in a very short amount of time.
There's a variant called chess 960. I think it's called chess 960. But anyway, the idea is that all of the pieces all of your minor and major pieces are randomized. Where their starting position is, and then it's mirrored. So black and white start with the same, but there's no preparation for it. But the thing is that it very quickly devolves back into like looking like a classical chess game, except that like the openings are pretty random, which is awesome. So it's more of a test of like, are you good at chess, or have you memorized all of this stuff?
I was going to suggest maybe instead you get into Chess 2, the sequel.
Well, yeah, exactly.
No, that exists. I mean,
oh, does it really?
yeah, it's on Steam. It's a
okay.
thing.
I know 5D chess exists.
Oh, like Star Trek chess?
No, that's 3D chess, I think. But 5D chess is like I think like temporal as well.
Isn't that 4D? What's the 5th?
I don't fucking know. Then I've never played it, but I know like you can go back in time in moves, and like play from different. It's weird.
Anybody else see it?
No.
Did they give everyone a little time turner from Harry Potter?
In chess 2, can you cloak?
I don't know. I was about to link chess 2 in
stealth rules are always bullshit.
Black.
But the non-castling chess was a recommendation, or not recommendation, is a strong word, but a comment made by Garry Kasparov on how to make chess interesting again, because chess is boring now. Where at the last World Championship, every single game got drawn in the World Championship.
No,
really? Wow.
Yeah. And then because the way it works is like you play like 14 games or whatever of classic chess, which is hours and hours long, and then if there's no winner on points after those games, you go to playing like 5-minute games. And so Magnus Carlsen is the best blitz player in the world, and so he just drew every game, and he would like draw positions where he was like a little bit ahead, because like, whatever, I'm not going to take the risk, I'm just going to draw this, and then I know that I can beat this guy in blitz games.
Right.
Oh jeez.
And that's what he did. So every single game got drawn. It was ridiculous. And so it's just boring now.
It's what everyone who doesn't like soccer thinks soccer is.
Yeah, exactly. Just fucking no
he
scoring.
passes to the left,
Yeah,
center
right.
passes to the center, passes to the wing, passes to the center.
Stall. Like Star Trek, he's just play to not lose. Play to not lose.
Yeah, sorry, that was a longer resolution, but my resolution is to get better at chess, to be like
You need to break the meta.
Yeah, to be like, I don't know, somewhere like 1700-ish on chess.com.
Damn.
And right now I'm like 12. So
yeah, you had a year, Will. 500 points in a year.
I think I could do it.
Did I hit everyone?
Jim.
No one else?
Yeah,
did everyone go?
Yeah, everyone went.
Well, Adam didn't do his resolution.
Yeah, Adam.
I don't do resolutions. I mean, the other good thing. I mean, look at me. This is I don't do resolutions. But no, I don't know. I mean, just the other good thing was just like Brian actually said, just spending time at home with the family, getting I've said this a billion times. I will say it a billion more. I am so lucky to be spending so much of my son's first year with him. So I mean, I am incredibly thankful for that. Whatever other hardships I've faced, I realize I'm outrageously lucky, and I think it is a shame what we do to parents and fathers in particular in this country. They don't get to spend enough time with their young children. So I've just been very, very happy about that. So you guys are a close second.
That's a good one. All right. Well, I guess I'll close it up. So 2020 highlight, I'd honestly say the being close, being forced out of Brooklyn wasn't all bad. It definitely took the edge off of bringing the girls here. The bigger place is always nice. Felt like this felt like a more normal for them. Things felt better as the year's gone on. So that's all been good. And I think honestly the Slack group, which we've kind of had around for, I mean, this thing has been around for a while, right? Like we've had this for a while. This wasn't just made this year, right? Like I don't even know how old this thing is, but this has been around, right? Slack group.
Yeah, it's been around for at least 2 years.
Yeah. Even the Slack group, has given a sense of connection, outside of this thing, where it didn't feel like it was so isolating. So the Slack group and you guys, I know I haven't participated much in all the other stuff, but even the Slack channel and this thing has been super super helpful, and very very much appreciated on my end. So that's been a really good thing.
Debating Earl and Slack has been your highlight of 2020.
I mean, it definitely it can unintentionally blow what was supposed to be a very productive afternoon. I will be honest. I've had like a queue of work to do, and then I look up and it's 2 hours later, and I'm like, oh no, like what did I do? I'm exhausted. I don't even want to do this work. So like that's happened a few times, but overall, I look at this all would have been harder without that kind of connection. So that's all been good. 2021, maybe this is mostly for Dave. I guess I will
Visit Dave more.
What?
Visit Dave more.
Visit Dave more.
No,
You're in New Jersey, dude. You're dead to me.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I just got to Brooklyn, and you're like, peace. So I would say 2021.
I'm in Brooklyn right now. I don't want to hear about it.
Yeah, well, I was. All right, I was there, and you left. I'll say 2021. My resolution will be to get a girlfriend and introduce her to you guys. How about that?
Wow.
I thought it was going to be a boyfriend.
Wait, did you fail to introduce us to previous girlfriends?
I have had no one worth introducing. We will say I will have a girlfriend. I will actually try to.
This is not a rotisserie dinner to pick out, Jim.
I mean, it basically is. I mean, the numbers are in my favor. That's for goddamn sure. So.
Yeah, the odds are forever in your favor, Jim.
Yeah, I'm a white guy. Like a tall white guy on a dating app is like,
yeah,
it's stupid.
Tall successful.
Yeah,
tall successful guy.
I was very worried in the beginning that being a divorcee with kids, and yeah, that's a limiter. It is not limiting. You know, I don't know how else to say it.
No, I think you said it very well.
You know, yeah, it trims the pool, but in a weird way, it's also like, oh, this
it sharpens.
Because let's be honest, a 38-year-old, which I'm 38 now, which I hate saying, a 38-year-old, who hasn't had a long relationship is even a worse flag in a lot of ways, right? Like if you're 38 and you've never had a long-term relationship, it's almost kind of like,
wait, yeah, why haven't you been divorced?
Right, like so you've never made a commitment. You've never committed to anything. Like yeah, you're worth my time. You know? So,
it's like one big fuck up versus a million little fuck ups.
Right, like because in my account they're like, oh, you took a shot and then it didn't work out, but you took your shot. The other one is like, you're never gonna take a shot. You're never gonna commit. So it's weird. It's weirdly better in some ways. So it's interesting. So yeah, 2021.
I like that.
By the time summer comes,
I like limits, but it's not limiting.
Will we meet her on the pod?
Yes. Well,
Great.
Assuming we're still doing this in 2021, come summertime when the vaccines are going out and everyone's starting to feel better, I will.
Oh, come on! Don't make that a promise. That's something that happens or it doesn't.
All right, fine. Regardless of the vaccine, by summertime, I will.
I predict Cabin 2021 is happening.
You predicted that? I mean, yeah, I say we should.
Cabin 2021 is definitely happening, COVID or not.
Yeah, I agree.
At this point, we've all learned to live with it. We'll quarantine for 2 weeks beforehand.
Yeah,
we'll drive up there.
I'll
break into Oma's cabin.
Yeah, well, we're going there, and I'll have
I'll tap the nail out from the other side on one of the windows.
Yeah, it'll be real hard for you to break.
Yeah, like it's the hardest thing in the world to get in that place. Yes, that is good, and I will have a girl that it will be worth talking about with pictures when it comes to it.
You got the receipts?
I got the receipts. I will have a real, and it won't be like Dave's pictures that definitely look photoshopped, like it was a fake girlfriend for a while. Okay.
I didn't even show you guys pictures. You didn't deserve.
No,
pictures.
you showed us pictures of
did.
Darcy, and they were like the most like picturesque pictures. It's like, and we're like, and Dave knows Photoshop. Like, we're pretty sure he just put her in there.
Like, there's like, is there like really a parrot on his fucking shoulder right now? Like, fucking,
Like, is he trolling us right now? Is he
Yeah.
daring us to call this fake?
Guys, there was no parrot.
Yeah, that was the thing. He photoshopped just enough for us to not believe the rest of it.
I'm gonna gaslight you motherfuckers.
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit on one key thing. Like, I've definitely hung out with you guys more because of COVID.
Yeah.
Than
Oh
than
yeah,
I ever
absolutely.
would have normally. Because like everybody's busy, everybody has shit to do normally. Now we have nothing to do.
Yeah, might as well get on this motherfucking thing and talk to you
Yeah.
guys.
It's
Yeah.
like, oh, I have a reason to spend 3 hours not watching YouTube or Netflix or playing video games or pretending to work. Like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna do that.
And Pete's comment also is he wants to go on a double date. Sure, Pete, if you get up here and I got a girlfriend and you got a girl, that sounds like a great idea.
Excuse me, Jim. I think that any girl who isn't interested in flying to Tennessee to visit a pot farm is not a girl you want to date.
What? No, I'm not going to Tennessee. He's got to come here. I ain't going to Tennessee.
Whoa! Damn, you
That's
just
where
got
you
called out.
cut. That's where you cut the podcast, by the way, on that damn.
And Pete, thank you, Pete. Yes, we can file the lock to get into the cabin. That I'm sure there are many ways. But yeah. Okay, so good stuff. Any other final words before we call it?
Nope.
All right.
Peter yellow for. Oh, go ahead.
Farm, middle of nowhere, Tennessee.
I heard middle of nowhere, Tennessee. What do you think you said?
You gotta say it again.
Middle of nowhere, Tennessee.
Yep.
I think those
Both.
might be the new lyrics to Country Roads.
I was trying to figure out a joke to make about that, Adam. Good job.
I'm sorry, Pete.
John Denver.
We're catching like every other word or every fourth
John
word. I feel
Denver's
like.
full of shit.
All right. Well, we'll call this the end. I'll cue some outro music right now, and
But Jim,
exactly.
did you take notes on what we said so that you can build an intro?
No.
Or are you gonna have to listen to the whole pod to
Dave,
remember what we talked about?
do you want the pod to come out, or you want me to spend 3 days writing up these notes and then doing an intro? Yeah, exactly.
3 days. No, just put it out.
Okay, there we go. That's what I
Ship
thought.
it.
Okay,
Ship
ship it. I'm shipping it. All right, end of the podcast. Everyone have a happy new year. Be safe, and we'll do this again next year.
Good night, guys. Thanks for doing this again, Jim.
Happy New Year, guys.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Later.